Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heartland Championship Wrestling. We are coming to you live from the Dave Cave with action from the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. We are here in Orlando, Florida, with a great show planned for you tonight. Our main event, as you can see, lined up on the tabletop. Our main event will be a good one. It will be for the number one contenders position for the NWA World Tag Team Championship, as the Fantastics, Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton, one of the hottest and by far most popular tag teams in the Heartland, takes on the Midnight Express, Sweet Stan Lane and beautiful Bobby Eaton, with Jim Cornette as the manager. As we say hello to Frank Wainscott and Carl Zilla in the chat room. And before we get started, of course, we need to acknowledge the sad times in the wrestling world this week, as we lost Terry Funk and we subsequently lost Bray Wyatt. Terry Funk, amazingly, with all the years and all the miles that he put into his body, lived to a good old age. Bray Wyatt, unfortunately, did not, passing away at the age of 36 and leaving two young children behind with his passing. Referee James Lawrence III has joined us as we take a moment of silence to say farewell to Bray Wyatt and to Terry Funk. All right, thank you for that, ladies and gentlemen. Referee James Lawrence III just dropped your package in the mail. And in fact, that was the end of the printed copies of the Foreign Object charts, the Ringside Mayhem Out of the Ring Again charts, and the Outside the Ring Action Fast Action cards. So anybody else who wants those can send me your email address and I'll send those to you in PDF. But the hard copies have been used up, and thank you again to Carl Zilla for all of his great design work in putting that project together. Now, we are coming to you today from the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. And as I mentioned, the number one contenders match, the Fantastics versus the Midnight Express, is your main event tonight, and the winner of that match will get a title shot at Jack and Jerry Briscoe. We'll also see Jack Briscoe here tonight in Orlando as he takes on Kevin Sullivan in a no disqualification grudge match after Sullivan busted open Jack Briscoe in their world title match. Also tonight, the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship will be on the line as Nick Aldis defends that title for the very first time against the former champion Kevin Von Erich. And we'll be getting things started off momentarily. Before we came to action, we had a pretty wild show to begin with. The card opened with Chris Jericho picking up a submission victory over Ken Shamrock by way of the Walls of Jericho. Then we saw the wildest brawl we've seen in the Atlantic Wrestling Federation in a long time, as Pat Patterson duked it out with Bobo Brazil. Inside the ring, outside the ring, tables were involved. Pat Patterson at one point called upon the assistance of Ray the Crippler Stevens, who attacked Bobo and Stevens took off his own boot and gave that to Patterson, who used it to bust Brazil wide open. But Bobo Brazil dug deep, and it was Bobo Brazil, bloody forehead and all, who subdued Pat Patterson with a series of cocoa butts and caught the pinfall victory. Then we saw the Sheepherders, Luke Williams and Butch Miller, with their double team devastation, taking down the team of Tom Zank and Brian Pillman when Luke pinned Pillman after a battering ram. And finally, just before we came to air, it was Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, with a disqualification victory over Stan Stasiak after Stasiak struck Dusty with a pipe wrench. All right, and that brings us to our live televised contest of the evening. As we switch back over to the tabletop. And we are ready for action. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's opening televised matchup is a singles contest scheduled for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. Disqualification rules are in effect for this match. Introducing first, coming to you from Yokohama, Japan. He stands at 6'2", weighs 225 pounds. This is Antonio INOKI. And his opponent comes to you from Glasgow, Scotland. He stands at 6'2", weighs in at 232 pounds. This is Roddy Piper. So INOKI and Piper, these two men are familiar rivals. They've squared off several times in the past. Tonight they come back together in a match with championship implications, as the winner of this match will move on to a number one contenders match and perhaps a shot in the offing at Nick Aldis if he retains tonight. So we are ready to go with INOKI and Piper squaring off. And the opening initiative roll is won by Antonio INOKI. And INOKI starts things off with a series of forearm smashes. But Piper fires back, reversing that. And Piper comes with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes INOKI. And on a roll of 6, it's INOKI who grabs the arm of Piper and sends Piper across the ring the other way. And Piper bounces off the turnbuckle and into an incredible neck-breaking clothesline delivered by Antonio INOKI. INOKI in control. And INOKI is going to go right to the enziguri. Nailed that enziguri upside the head. INOKI goes for the pin. The pin roll is 4 or lower. And on a roll of 5, Piper just got his foot over the bottom rope. And the match will continue. Both men getting their feet. INOKI in control. INOKI now is going to go up for an attempted death jump. Up to the top turnbuckle goes INOKI. And on a roll of 6, it's INOKI coming off with a flying clothesline that nails Roddy Piper and puts him back down to the canvas. INOKI following up with a bow and arrow submission move. Piper escaping that finally and getting to his feet. INOKI still in control, and INOKI is going to come with some jumping stomps. This is a choice C maneuver. He'll need a roll of 7 or lower to complete that. And on a roll of 4, it is INOKI putting the boots to Roddy Piper. And Piper is hurt. INOKI comes back at him now with a big belly-to-back suplex. Piper down, getting back to his feet slowly, as another belly-to-back suplex puts Piper back down onto the canvas. And here comes INOKI with yet another belly-to-back suplex. This time, Piper goes down and stays down. A trio of belly-to-back suplexes delivered by INOKI has finally got Piper down. What's INOKI going to do? He goes for the Cobra Twist. And Piper is slow to get to his feet. But now Piper has got hold of a foreign object. That's a mechanic on Piper's card on a roll of 1 on the down 3 defense. Piper can pull a foreign object, so he pulls out the ring steps. Piper dumps INOKI out of the ring and onto the ring steps, and he bashes the head of INOKI into the ring steps. He's going to go for a count out here. Not going to happen on a pin roll of 1. But Piper now in control as he comes in to finish up. And he has got INOKI now trapped in the figure 4 leg lock. INOKI able to escape the ring. What's going to happen on the arena floor? On a roll of 6, it is Piper who wins the brawl on the arena floor and rams the back of Antonio INOKI into the ring apron. And as we all know, the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. Piper in control. INOKI comes in, and it's a big back suplex from Piper that takes INOKI down to the canvas. Piper follows that up with a big knee lift. He's going to go for the cover, The pin roll is Snake Eyes, and on a roll of 6, INOKI kicks out. The match continues. Piper now in control. Neil Lau in the chat room here welcomes us. Or welcome to the chat room, Neil. As Piper is in control, Piper goes to that figure 4 once again. INOKI works his way over to the bottom rope to force the break. But Piper's on him with another knee lift, and INOKI is stunned. Piper on the offensive here. Piper now with a whip. Thought about a whip to the ropes, thought better of it. And instead, he's going to come back with a big clothesline. And that dazed INOKI. INOKI dazed. Piper coming in with an attempt at atomic drop. A choice D maneuver. Choice D. He's going to need a roll of 9 or lower to complete this. And oh, on a roll of 10, INOKI slips away. And it is INOKI with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes INOKI, or comes Piper. And on a roll of 7, it is a big kick from Roddy from INOKI that stuns Piper. INOKI follows up with those jumping stomps once again. On a roll of 7 or lower, he can complete that. And once again, it is Piper who gets out of the way of the jumping stomps. And it is Piper with a big bulldog that takes INOKI down to the canvas. Piper goes for the cover. The pin roll is 3 or lower, and on a roll of 4, he almost got it. INOKI gets out of that at a count of 2 3/4. Piper still in control, and now Piper goes to the sleeper hold. Piper sleeper hold applied. The submission roll is 6 or lower, and on a roll of 7, INOKI just gets to the ropes. INOKI on Dream Street here. His running lights have been dimmed. Piper in control. He's going to go up for a running double sledge, a choice H maneuver. He can either go death jump A, or he can hit this on a roll of 6 or lower. He's going to go for the roll of 6 or lower, and on a roll of 8, INOKI dodges the flying elbow drop, or excuse me, the running double sledge, and it is INOKI who comes back with a whip to the turnbuckle. Piper comes off the turnbuckle, and on a roll of 8, it is INOKI that hits him with a big kick. INOKI in control. INOKI now with another whip to the turnbuckle. And another big kick from INOKI stuns Piper. INOKI now with another belly-to-back suplex. Can Piper hit that foreign object roll again? He hits the foreign object roll again. He goes for the cover. The pin roll is 5 or lower. And on a roll of 10, INOKI is able to break the pin count. Piper now goes for a swinging neck breaker, and down to the canvas goes INOKI. INOKI is down. Piper still in control. And now to the figure 4 once again. INOKI trying to weaken those lower legs and perhaps keep him away from INOKI's enziguri finisher. As Piper follows that up with a whip to the turnbuckle. INOKI to his feet. Piper whips him to the turnbuckle. And oh, this time it is INOKI who lifts a knee to the head of Piper coming off the turnbuckle, and Piper is stunned. INOKI comes back with a diving knee drop. And Piper now down to the canvas. INOKI to the sleeper. INOKI's sleeper hold is not a finisher. Piper struggles his way to the ropes. And now it is INOKI with another whip to the turnbuckle. And on a roll of 7, another big kick from INOKI stuns Roddy Piper. INOKI fighting back, diving knee drop again. Piper still hurt. Another whip to the turnbuckle. And this time it is a big specialty move delivered by INOKI that puts Piper down to the canvas. He caught him with a big high running knee coming off the turnbuckle. Piper is down. And now the enziguri delivered by INOKI. That's a +2 finisher. The pin roll here is 5 or lower. And on a roll of 8, Piper kicks out. And coming back with the Cobra Twist now is INOKI. Piper stunned. INOKI goes for the jumping stomps. And this time he hits the jumping stomps. And Piper is hurt. INOKI coming back with a belly-to-back suplex. And Piper rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Out to the arena floor we go. Piper has the advantage out here. And oh, on a roll of 5, that is a double disqualification roll. Will INOKI be disqualified? No. Will Piper be disqualified? Also a no. And now we go to the odd-even roll. Piper will get the even roll. And on a roll of 2, it is Piper who wins the brawl on the arena floor. And body slams INOKI down to the concrete. So a body slam on the concrete floor has stunned Antonio INOKI. And now Piper is going to keep the action out of the ring. And we're going to see shenanigans. Shenanigans coming into play here. And on a roll of 12, it is going to be a possible double countout. A possible double countout. And on a roll of 7, there will not be a double countout. Instead, we're going to roll again on the ringside mayhem chart. And it is going to be outside interference. Who's bringing outside interference? Oh my goodness. Somebody is coming out to attack Roddy Piper. I think it's going to be Adrian Adonis coming out to attack Roddy Piper in the middle of this match. Let's see what's going to happen here on the outside interference chart. And on a roll of 6, it is Adrian Adonis who attacks Roddy Piper with a deadly specialty move. Will we see a disqualification? No. So INOKI now has the opportunity for a pin roll on 4 or lower, and on a roll of 8, he gets free. Piper survives the attack from Adrian Adonis, and the match continues with INOKI in control. INOKI now goes to the sleeper. He can get a submission here on a roll of 5 or lower, but on a roll of 10, Piper survives. What a heck of a match this has been. Kathy Evans now here in the chat room. Welcome to you, Kathy. As INOKI in control is going to not let Piper get out of the ring. This time, INOKI is going to take it up with a drop kick and knock Piper down to the canvas as Piper was attempting to get out of the ring. And now INOKI with another whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Roddy Piper. And oh, on a roll of 5, it is Piper who lifts a knee to the head of INOKI as INOKI was coming in. INOKI is stunned. Piper now in control. Piper with a double forearm clap across the head of INOKI. INOKI fires right back with a series of forearm smashes. And it is Piper who fires back with a bulldog that takes INOKI down to the canvas, exchanging at the turnbuckle. INOKI with the forearm smashes. Piper just grabs him and bulldogs him down to the mat. He's going to go for the cover. The pin roll here is 6. And on a roll of 9, INOKI gets free. INOKI kicks out of that pin attempt. Piper in control. And now he goes to the swinging neckbreaker again. Down to the canvas goes INOKI. Piper follows that up and just bites his forehead. INOKI doesn't like that very much. INOKI fires back and takes Piper up with a belly-to-belly suplex and down to the canvas hard. Boy, Piper still had a mouthful of the forehead, and INOKI just wrapped him up and dumped him. Belly-to-back suplex on the arena floor. INOKI goes for, on the center of the ring. INOKI goes for the cover. The pin roll here is 6. And on a roll of 8, Piper kicks out. Wow, we're up to 11 fatigue tokens in this match. It has been a dandy. INOKI in control. INOKI going up for a death jump. But on a roll of 4, that's a disaster for INOKI as Piper was playing some possum there. Got up and throws INOKI hard down to the ring apron. Down to the canvas. Now another back suplex by Piper. Puts INOKI down on the canvas. And Piper now goes to the sleeper. The pin roll here is 9 or lower. And on a roll of 7, it is lights out for Antonio INOKI after an incredible match. A grand total of 12 tokens of fatigue there as Piper wins by a sleeper despite the attack of Adrian Adonis. And the reason Adonis was out here is that Adonis versus Piper will now be the #1 contenders match for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. Piper versus Adonis will decide who gets the next title shot here in the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. congratulations to Roddy Piper for a very hard-fought victory in a very hotly contested match. Finally getting the sleeper hold and forcing the submission on Antonio INOKI. All right, welcome Salvador America. Welcome to you, my friend. Let's catch up with the activity in the chat as we have plenty of banter going on. Referee James Lawrence III points out to us the ring apron is really is the hardest part of the ring. Thank you for that insight. Just the reminder that we all needed. Frank Wainscott posed a question. Do your feds have a set roster number, or do you bring talent in and out without roster spots? Some of both, in answer to your question, Frank. I typically have 20 singles wrestlers in each territory and 10 tag teams. And that will allow me to have enough guys to cover all of the match slots for the month, even if there are injuries or suspensions. But I will also bring guys in a non-wrestling capacity to contribute to the plot lines. For example, earlier today there was a match between Bobo Brazil and Pat Patterson. Outside interference was rolled, and so I went to Wikipedia or someplace, and I found out that Pat Patterson was a frequent tag team partner of Ray the Crippler Stevens. So we brought Ray Stevens in for the outside interference, and Stevens now will accompany Patterson for a while, but he won't be scheduled for any wrestling matches with any championship implications. He may end up in a grudge match here or there, but he won't be part of the official standings. So that answers your question. As we say hello to, I think we've covered everybody who's in the chat room. James Lawrence, Salvador America, Neil Lau, Kathy Evans, and a dignified cast now up to 7 viewers ongoing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next contest is a grudge match dating back to the recent World Tag Team Championship match between the BRISCO brothers and the team of Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. In that match, it was Kevin Sullivan who busted open Jack Briscoe with a foreign object, and that has led to this grudge match. The Briscoes a proud wrestling family, even though the Briscoes retain the belts, and Sullivan and Cactus Jack are no longer in contention. Jack Briscoe wasn't going to take that dirty tactic without taking his opportunity for revenge, and that is exactly what we're going to see here in Orlando in our next match. The following contest is a no disqualification match scheduled for one fall with no time limit. Introducing first from Boston, Massachusetts. He stands at 5'11", weighs 252 pounds. This is the Prince of Darkness, Kevin Sullivan. And his opponent from Blackwell, Oklahoma, 6'2", 232 pounds. This is Jack Briscoe. So Jack Briscoe to take on Kevin Sullivan here in this grudge match. And we will retrieve the grudge match dice for this contest as Briscoe and Sullivan come together in the ring. And it is Jack Briscoe who wins the opening initiative roll. And Briscoe comes right out with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Kevin Sullivan, and on a roll of 8, it is a big kick by Jack Briscoe that stuns Kevin Sullivan. Briscoe now with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Sullivan, but on a roll of 4, it is Briscoe who sets his head too early. And Kevin Sullivan takes advantage with a running knee to the side of the head. That stuns Jack Briscoe. And right away, Sullivan is taking this match out of the ring and down to the arena floor. That is something Jack Briscoe would rather have avoided. But on a roll of 3, it is Briscoe who grabs the leg of Sullivan and pounds the leg of Sullivan into the steel ring post. Sullivan is stunned, and BRISCO now is in control. And BRISCO is going to haul Sullivan back into the ring and execute a knee breaker on that injured leg. BRISCO taking advantage of an opportunity here to work the leg of Kevin Sullivan. And now it is a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Sullivan, and on a roll of 8, it is a big back body drop by Jack BRISCO, and Sullivan is once again down to the mat hard. BRISCO follows that up with another knee breaker, but this time Sullivan slips away, and it is Sullivan with a rake of the eyes. Jack BRISCO not happy about that. Sullivan follows that up with a running clothesline. Sullivan's going to go for the cover. The pinroll is snake eyes, but on a roll of 9, BRISCO is able to kick out. Sullivan now in control. Back and forth we go, and now Sullivan is going to tie up Jack BRISCO in the tree of woe. Kicks and stomps. That's not a very pleasant position to be in. And Sullivan is going to follow that up as BRISCO escapes. Sullivan just nails him with a clothesline. And down to the canvas again goes Jack BRISCO. Sullivan follows that up with a running drop kick. He's going to need a roll of 8 or lower to connect on that. And on a roll of 6, he hits the drop kick. And BRISCO is stunned. Jumping knee smash by Sullivan keeps BRISCO on the defensive. Sullivan going to try another big drop kick. And this time BRISCO slips out of the way of the drop kick. And it is BRISCO with a drop kick of his own that stuns Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan goes down. BRISCO now is going to follow that up with another drop kick. And it is Sullivan leaving the ring. Out of the ring goes Kevin Sullivan. And on a roll of 7, that's the best man win rolls. And in this case, it is Sullivan with the better ring rating who wins the brawl on the arena floor and drops Jack BRISCO's stomach first across the steel security railing. Not a happy landing for Jack BRISCO. He's taken some punishment in this match. As Sullivan follows that up, and oh, he's got a foreign object. What's he got in his tie? He's got some brass knuckles. And he nails Jack BRISCO with the brass knuckles. This is a no disqualification match. So ain't nothing that Jack BRISCO can do about it. As Sullivan now is on the attack. And Sullivan is going to go up for a death jump. Off the top rope comes Kevin Sullivan. And on a roll of 9, death jump B9, the opponent blasts you with a flying clothesline or some other awesome move off the top rope, and BRISCO is down once again. And Sullivan now goes to the double foot stomp. That's his finisher. It's a +2. The pin roll here is 6 or lower, and on a roll of 10, Jack BRISCO able to kick out. Boy, Sullivan has been in control in this match. And Sullivan now goes to the double foot stomp again. Pin roll here now 7 or lower, and on a roll of 10, BRISCO again kicks out. Sullivan keeping on the attack. He's going to deliver a third double foot stomp. The pin roll now is 8 or lower, and he still gets out of it. Jack BRISCO just got his foot over the bottom rope, and the match will continue. Sullivan now getting frustrated as BRISCO has survived 3 consecutive double foot stomps, and now he is going up for yet another death jump. Off the top rope comes Sullivan, but on a roll of 10, that is the agility struggle. And the agility struggle favors Jack BRISCO. So it is BRISCO who throws Kevin Sullivan down to the mat. And now it is BRISCO with a gut-wrench backbreaker taking Sullivan down to the canvas. BRISCO going to try and slow things down here and get technical all over Sullivan. Knee breaker again to the injured leg of Sullivan, but Sullivan survives that, and Sullivan comes back with a jumping knee smash of his own. Sullivan now on the offensive, a running forearm. Will Jack BRISCO leave the ring? He's got no choice. He leaves the ring, but on a roll of 6, it is the best man win roll, and that belongs to Kevin Sullivan. And Sullivan is going to keep the action out here on the arena floor. We'll see no shenanigans yet, but it is this time Jack BRISCO who wins the brawl on the arena floor. As BRISCO is able to slam the head of Kevin Sullivan into the ring post. Sullivan head slammed into the ring post. Jack Briscoe now going to go for the Thez press. That is a choice G maneuver. So he is going to use the death jump roll. And on a roll of 6, it is Briscoe successfully executing the Thez press. And down goes Sullivan. Briscoe follows that up. Sullivan trying to escape the ring. Briscoe not going to let that happen. Briscoe instead is going to go for an airplane spin. A choice E maneuver. He will need a roll of 9 or lower to complete that. And on a roll of 7, he gets the airplane spin. And Kevin Sullivan is hurt. Briscoe still in control. Briscoe now with a deep arm drag, taking Sullivan back down to the canvas. Briscoe follows that up with an assortment of suplexes. The vertical suplex by Jack Briscoe. And Sullivan now leaving the ring. And we will not yet see the shenanigans roll. And instead, on a roll of 7, it's the best man win roll. Sullivan wins the brawl on the arena floor and drop kicks Jack Briscoe over the security railing. Another unhappy landing for Jack Briscoe. Sullivan follows that up. He's going to keep things out of the ring. And we are now going to go to the out of the ring again chart. And on a roll of 7, it is the foreign object coming back into play. This time the foreign object is the ring mic. They're battling it out over the ring mic. We go to the gut check roll, and it is Sullivan who wins the gut check roll and grabs the ring mic and drills it right into the forehead of Jack Briscoe. Jack Briscoe now busted open. Briscoe is bleeding, and Sullivan is in control. Sullivan is going to keep things out of the ring yet again. And again, it is the ringside mayhem chart, and this time it is outside interference. More outside interference coming. It is Cactus Jack coming to the ring to help his brother in blood, Kevin Sullivan. And on a roll of 4 on the outside interference chart, it is Cactus Jack attacking Briscoe with a deadly specialty move. Kevin Sullivan now is set up for the double foot stomp. The pin roll here is 10 or lower. And on a roll of 6, he got him. So it took the assistance of Cactus Jack. But with Cactus Jack double teaming on Jack Briscoe, it is Kevin Sullivan who is able to win the fall and win this grudge match. So the double foot stomp executed. All right, so we have had a grudge match here where Jack Briscoe has lost to Kevin Sullivan. He's gotten his head bloodied and been pinned after the double team by Cactus Jack. As a result of that, we're going to go to the post-match interview card from Gordon Soley. As the referees quickly clear Cactus Jack out of there, there will be no post-match attack, as that was not a roll of doubles, but instead the post-match interview. The roll is 8. And here comes insert the wrestler of your choice, and we're completely out of time. So we'll say it is Jerry Briscoe coming in and coming to the defense of his brother. And now it is a showdown, a stare down between the Briscoe brothers and Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. And another grudge match will be scheduled. So we'll put Cactus Jack and Jerry Briscoe together for another grudge match as the feud continues. All right. Wow, 2 great matches here so far to kick things off tonight. As Jack Briscoe goes down to defeat at the hands of Kevin Sullivan. And now brother Jerry has interjected himself into the mix. And I don't know what the Briscoe brothers are thinking. They're the reigning World Tag Team Champions, but as I mentioned earlier, they are a proud family. And they're not going to let anybody push them around, belts or no belts. So it will be Jerry Briscoe and Cactus Jack in action across the ring from one another. Sometime here in the near future, probably on a future broadcast. So Grant Bachoco is here. Welcome, Grant, my good friend. Salvador America recommends settle it with a Texas death hardcore style match. Not a bad idea. We'll see. We'll see what we decide to do with that. I'm thinking about a table that would help us decide what kind of grudge matches would take place based on charts I have available and charts, of course, available in the Ringside Companion Volume 1. And as we heard on Uncharted Territory this week, Ringside Companion Volume 2 is going to be released hopefully by the end of the calendar year 2023. And now here's a suggestion for a scaffold match. So yeah, all kinds of suggestions coming from the crowd here. So we will give that some thought. But ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to move on to our next match. Order has been restored at ringside. And I think we're going to see a much more technical match this time, as the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. This match is scheduled for 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect in this contest. Introducing first the challenger. He stands at 6'1" and weighs 239 pounds, hailing from Denton County, Texas. He is a former Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. He is Kevin Von Erich. And his opponent is the reigning and defending Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. He is the National Treasure, standing at 6'4", weighing 242 pounds, from King's Lynn, England, Nick Aldis. And Grant, thank you for that offer. I would love that. Commissioner deciding the stipulation from the older ringside companions. I would love to see that. I may actually have the old ringside companion here somewhere. I will look that up. All right, it is Nick Aldis ready to square off against Kevin Von Erich in this heavyweight championship match for the Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. And it is Kevin Von Erich who wins the opening initiative roll and comes out with a chop to the chest. Aldis stands his ground. Von Erich now goes for an atomic knee drop, but that is a power move, and the power in this match will favor Nick Aldis. So it's Aldis now in control, and Aldis, who quickly takes Von Erich down to the mat and wraps him up in a bow and arrow hold. Very painful hold, stretching out the rib cage of Kevin Von Erich. Von Erich wakes his way to the bottom rope, gets to his feet as Aldis comes in and sends Von Erich with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Kevin Von Erich, and on a roll of 10, it is a big specialty move, favoring the man with the better turnbuckle rating, in this case, Nick Aldis, with a big specialty move off the turnbuckle. And Aldis now in control with a chance to do some damage, and he's going to go for the Mag Daddy Driver, which is kind of a Death Valley. I guess that's a Death Valley driver. And that is an add one move. So Von Erich takes a point of fatigue, and he is down. Aldis now with a chance to follow that up. And now he's going to the King's Lynn Cloverleaf. This is his submission finisher. It's a +2 hold. The pin roll here is 6 or lower. And on a roll of 8, Von Erich is able to kick out. But Von Erich quickly in trouble here at the hands of Aldis, who is a technical wrestler par excellence. And now it is Aldis who is going to pitch Von Erich out of the ring. And this should definitely work to the advantage of Aldis. Von Erich, a C-rated performer on the arena floor, is forced to crawl back into the ring ahead of the referee's count, where Aldis is ready and waiting to do more damage. And he's just going to pitch him right back out of the ring. We will not see any shenanigans this time around. And on a roll of 8, it is once again the helpless crawl. So Von Erich tried to get back into the ring, and Nick Aldis with a running knee just knocks Von Erich off of the ring apron and back down to the floor. Von Erich now getting back into the ring for the second time. And it's another Mag Daddy driver. Another Mag Daddy driver stuns Kevin Von Erich. Von Erich is down. And Aldis again going to the Kingsland Cloverleaf. The submission roll now is 8 or lower. And on a roll of 7, he got him. A dominant performance by Nick Aldis, winning that match with relative ease by way of the Kingsland Cloverleaf. Kevin Von Erich forced to tap out, and Nick Aldis has earned his spot now as the Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. And boy, I really like Aldis. He is one of my favorite performers in the ring and on the microphone. He is just, as I have read, been hired by the WWE to basically train to become a ring agent. Which, good for him if that's the path he has chosen for himself. I would love to see more of Aldis in the ring, but perhaps the time and the years and fatherhood have slowed him down enough that he wants to take more of a backstage role. Congratulations to Aldis, and congratulations to the WWE for bringing in a man of this caliber. All right. It is now time for our main event of the evening. The following contest is a tag team matchup scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. And this is a number 1 competitors match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. And since this is a match with championship implications, disqualification rules will be in effect. So these boys are going to have to behave themselves in this match. Introducing first, at a total combined weight of 458 pounds, it is beautiful Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane, the Midnight Express, accompanied to the ring by Jim Cornette. So Jim Cornette accompanying the Midnight Express to ringside, but he and the boys are going to have to behave themselves or run the risk of being disqualified and losing their opportunity at the BRISCO brothers. Their opponents, at a total combined weight of 442 pounds. From the City of Angels, it's Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton, the Fantastics. And the Fantastics have been on quite a roll. Actually, it is Eaton and Lane who are your reigning and defending Atlantic Tag Team Champions. They're from here in the Orlando-based Fed. Fulton and Rogers wrestle in Patriot Championship Wrestling, and they are the Patriot champions, but these are the top 2 contenders to the NWA World Tag Team Championship. So they are squaring off here tonight in Orlando. And even though Eaton and Lane are the supposed home team here in Orlando, the fans are certainly much more enthusiastic about the arrival of the Fantastics. So as we get things started, it will be Bobby Fulton starting things off against Bobby Eaton. Boy, I'm going to have to take my time with the announcements of this match. Fulton and Eaton, Bobby and Bobby. I tend to get a little worked up and talk a little too fast when these matches get exciting. And now it is Eaton who takes control to begin things here. And it is Eaton who is going for a bulldog off of the opening lockup. This is a choice B maneuver. So he'll either need an agility roll, which you don't want to do against Bobby Fulton, or a turnbuckle. So Eaton with a whip to the turnbuckle. It's a choice B. And on a roll of 12, it is Fulton who bounces off the turnbuckle, and Eaton just nails Fulton coming off the turnbuckle with a spinning neck breaker, and Fulton goes down and goes down hard. Eaton in control. Eaton is going to go up for a top rope elbow. He nails that. And Bobby Fulton is going to roll out of the ring. And on the arena floor, it is Fulton who is forced to make that helpless crawl. Excuse me, back into the ring. And I'm going to break right here and go grab a drink because my voice is giving out. So talk amongst yourselves, and I will be back as soon as I can get my hands on some liquid refreshment. And just my luck, I've got a little bit of leftover Diet Mountain Dew here from lunch. We'll take a swig of that, and the show must go on. So what just happened? Bobby Eaton just won the brawl on the arena floor. Fulton comes back in by way of the helpless crawl. And immediately they go to a finisher. When teaming with Stan Lane, it's the Vegematic. That's a +3 finisher. The pin roll here is 6. And that means the pin save is mandatory. And on a roll of 9, the pin save is a failure. So on a roll of 6 or lower, we're going to have a pinfall. And he got him. Just like that. Bobby Eaton with the pinfall on Bobby Fulton right off of the jump. As Eaton and Lane with that double team. With that double team, Vegematic have quickly won this contest. And it will be the Midnight Express moving on to face the BRISCO brothers. Jack and Jerry for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Let me make some notes here. As we got a pin roll on Snake Eyes off of the opening counter. Now I have also made myself a little table for things that might happen to lead to a flash pin like that. And let's see, the heels win, and I bet you if I do this right, I can show you what is on the screen. Don't know if y'all can see this this chart. Let me close out of that, close out of that, save that, and now y'all should be seeing perhaps my screen. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got my flash pin chart that I made. Let's see, the heels win that. So on a roll of 6, it is an injury occurred. Babyface rolls on the injury table. Oh, so Fulton outside the ring suffered some sort of an injury that led to that pinfall. So bad news for Bobby Fulton as he is injured by the devious tactics of the Midnight Express. And we will have to have him go out and get checked out by the Heartland trainers in order to see the extent of his injury. All right, fans, we are done here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's broadcast of Heartland Championship Wrestling. Yeah, it looks like my screen just went to black when I tried to show that table. Anyhow, I should be seeing my face now. There's a bit of a lag on my studio. Here I am. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Good to see you all. And thank you for tuning in to this week's Heartland Championship Wrestling. Your winners once again in your main event. And now the #1 contenders to the NWA World Tag Team Championship. It is beautiful Bobby Eaton and sweet Stan Lane. After an injury suffered by Bobby Fulton. And what the heck, let's go ahead and roll that out just for fun. When I have something like this that occurs, I usually try to think of 3 or 4 possible explanations for it, and then I'll roll to determine what the outcome was. So one possibility is that Cornette hit him with the racket. A second possibility is that Eaton, or that Stan Lane caught him with a sneak attack. It may be that Jim Cornette, that Eaton himself was able to do something with a foreign object. And a fourth possibility is that Jim Cornette brought in help, brought in an outside assistant. So we'll go those four possibilities, and we'll just go, we'll roll a 12-sided die, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, and 5 and 10 to 12. And on a roll of 9, it is Bobby Eaton who did something on the arena floor. We'll say he pulled a foreign object, a bottle. The bottle is always handy. So Bobby Eaton hits Bobby Fulton with a beer bottle on the arena floor that incapacitates Fulton and leads to the pinfall. So that is a storyline that we have been able to build around the. Oh, here's a good one. How about dropping him throat first on the racket, just like they did to Ricky Morton? Ooh, that's another good thought. Maybe I'll go with that. Instead of the beer bottle, we'll say Eaton drops throat first onto racket. A throat drop onto the tennis racket. Well done, Salvador. So now we have our storyline in place. As when we do the write-ups for the message board, that's how this match will have gone down. Fulton was thrown out of the ring. Eaton dropped Fulton throat first onto the tennis racket of Jim Cornette. They returned to the ring, and Eaton hit the Vegematic for the pin. All right, so thank you, everybody. Great crowd today. Neil Lau, Salvador America, Frank Wainscott, Grant Bachoco. Always an honor to have Grant Bachoco in the chat room. Michael Brada. Sorry I missed you coming in, Michael. Always a pleasure. Looks like Michael's going to be headed to Cauliflower Alley Club this weekend. Good for you. And let's see, who else did we see at the beginning of the broadcast? I know Carl Zilla was here. Referee James Lawrence III. Kathy Evans. Frank Wainscott. I think we have everybody. So thanks to everybody for tuning in today and enjoying this week's edition of Heartland Championship Wrestling from the Dave Cave, brought to you by the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. We will be on tomorrow, for those of you who are so inclined, with an episode of My Journey with Jesus. And otherwise, we will be back in action next Saturday with matches from the Heartland Ladies Wrestling. We don't have the cards set yet, but there will be a grudge match next week pitting Brittany Blake against Dust. And this will be the first ever grudge match that stemmed from the foreign object deck, as it was Brittany Blake who hit Dust with a bottle in a previous matchup to set up next week's grudge encounter. So from the Dave Cave, thank you again for everybody who checked out this week's show. That's our stream, and I am out of here.